Ordot-Chalan Pago in the house. And Mayor Melissa Savares of Dededo. She's also the Mayor's Council of Guam president. Good morning, mayors.
Good morning.
And
morning.
also, we have Mayor Louise Rivera of Tatuha, Tamuning-Tumon-Harmon. Good morning, Mayor Louise.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning on you, Bananas of Zeus. We'll start. Let's go ahead and start with Mayor Melissa. Right, as you know, Dededo, we're in your neck of the jungle, kind of. We're kind of sassaying on the border of Harmon and Dededo. So,
Yes.
Mayor, let's start with you. What's the latest news in the village of Dededo?
Well, we're of course continuing to feed our seniors from our both Dededo and Estumbo senior centers, as well as those that have registered with our senior meals. We're working with GDOE to do food commodities the beginning of October. And then we're just doing the final cleanups with, we've exhausted our junk vehicle purchase order. We're just doing a few white goods tires that are left over. And we're closing out the fiscal year for those purchase orders. So, we're aggressively trying to get things cleaned up before the end of the fiscal year and then start new.
And how are your villagers doing with this PCOR 1 lockdown, Mayor? Doesn't look like they're following the orders.
Well, one thing is that we still have traffic on the road. Schools, of course, on Tuesday, certain schools have their different schedules for grab and learn, and usually on Fridays we have the grab and go commodities at the schools as well. So, with 9 public schools, we have a lot of schools that are still doing the Zoom learning. Teachers are in their classroom settings, meaning they're in their spaces doing the learning with the children. We don't see people out on the children out on the streets in the parks. Of course, the parks are closed. We still have individuals that are wanting to go out and do more stuff, get out of their homes. But of course, we continue to remind them when we're in the areas that, we're still at PCOR 1, practice social distancing, going out only when you need to. The people on the road continue to say that they're still going to work, which is good. And the businesses that are open are essential. So.
What are you hearing though, Mayor? I'm pretty sure as the head of the Mayor's Council of Guam, anytime there's a big decision like the one we're going to hear today from Adelup, we know that they advise the mayors of what's going to happen. So what have you been advised about the announcement that's coming today? Are we going to extend the PCOR 1 lockdown? Are more businesses going to open? What's your conversation with Adelup been like?
More businesses will be able to open. Will still be at the PCOR 1. However, lifting of other businesses and operations will be lifted. And same with the medical, advisory group. They're letting the governor know to go ahead and open certain things. Of course, we continue to say funerals will still be restricted, with 10 people. And it's difficult when you want to pay your respects, and especially when you have a big family. But, through the different findings in the past, through contact tracing, some of the deaths and the spreads that they've had are that these things have been contacted at funerals, family funerals. So, the restriction will still be at 10 and still limited on a rotation basis. However, other businesses will be able to open. Bars will not likely be open, as we see that restaurants are now more than just curbside takeout. You can actually go in and pick up. So families can still go in and get their takeout orders. Other retail business, I believe they are going to be opening some more retail spaces that where clothing is one where they're going to open those areas, and other necessities, not necessarily just essential.
With the retail that you're hearing about clothing, I'm assuming you're talking about places like Ross. Has your conversation with Adelup been that these retail businesses will be open in terms of they'll allow customers inside of the store?
Yes. So right now, it's only what they call the online orders, and then they do the curbside pickup. So it looks like they will be opening up. They're still, when I talked to them on Monday, they're still working with the Department of Public Health, and the Doctors Advisory Group on how much more of the retail they can open. But they definitely are going to open the clothing stores as well. So, and then more, I just saw smaller clothing apparel stores that were open yesterday with curbside pickup, and they don't really do online. It's phone calls.
Right.
So phone calls and see what they have. So those things will be lifted.
Wow, Mayor, thank you. It sounds like you're in the loop now.
Minimal. Yeah.
Well, let's bring on your colleagues here, Mayor Jesse, Mayor Louise. Were you guys aware that this is what was going to be announced today? Well, we're assuming it's going to be announced today. Unmute. Mayor Jesse?
No. And understandably so. I mean, we've got officers of the Mayor's Council of Guam and who are really the direct to leadership above us, which includes Adelup. And, there are 19 mayors, 7 vice mayors, and the last thing Adelup needs is 19 mayors are having to spend time briefing 19 mayors, 7 vice mayors every single time they make a decision. So I'm confident with the leadership of the Mayor's Council of Guam and, of course, Adelup itself that the flow of information remains continuous, and more importantly, that eventually it gets down to us. And so, I mean, we've been trudging along and doing what needs to be done. As a matter of fact, when you ask Melissa, what are you guys doing in Dededo? The question is, what aren't we doing? Everything that we would normally do in the course of the day, we're doing, in addition to supporting our schools, because they've got their students working at home and oftentimes needing a place to just connect to the internet, helping them pass out materials, because when they do the hard copy issuance, it ends at a certain time. Well, for us, they end those hard copy pickups before we close our offices. And oftentimes they'll come to us and say, hey, if parents come, can they pick it up from your office? Absolutely. So the question ultimately becomes, what aren't we doing? Not what are we doing, but what aren't we doing?
Well, I stand corrected, Mayor Jesse. I'll ask that next time.
So Mayor Jesse, what are you or aren't you doing with this this announcement from the Department of Defense? I want to say it's like $3 million for some sort of facility for military families.
Right.
Yeah, this is a and no, it's not for military families. It's for the community, which many need to realize that includes the military families. Mm-hmm. Most of the people that are stationed here in Guam are living off base. They're not living in housings, at Naval Station or Anderson, or over at AFRA housing, or over at NICTAMS. You've got more people in the military, active duty military, including our reserves and guardsmen, that are living off base than they are living on base. So this is a project that we've been planning for 10 years. This is the project we've been actively seeking funding for the last 5 years. And more importantly, this opportunity that was presented by the Office of Economic Adjustment to help communities, because it's not just our community. There were 16 projects selected from throughout the United States. It was open to all 50 states and all 5 territories. It was a notice of opportunity, federal funding opportunity, that was announced back in May. And it just happened to fit the template of what we've been trying to do for the last 5 years, or at least the funding that we've been trying to seek for the last 5 years. And that's to build a multi-purpose center. And, and that's a fancy name for a beefed up gym.
Right.
And so because we had the plans put together more than 5 years ago, because we had always tried to keep pace with what it would cost to build this thing, this facility in the area that we wanted to build it on the footprint that we wanted to build it over. When this opportunity notice came about, we had basically all of the information they needed if we wanted to apply for this funding. And so we did. We put together a grant proposal and submitted it back in June. And there were about, according to OEA, the Office of Economic Adjustment, there were over 140 applications that were submitted. Out of the 140 applications submitted, 109 applications met their criteria. Cost estimate from a third party company. It's not just my word that's what it was going to cost. It was actually a third party review of our plan, and based on Guam's economic factors, what would it cost? We were able to get a couple of installation command endorsements saying, yes, this project would be great for our military community and for Ordot-Chalan Pago community and Guam island community, because it'll be open to everybody. And more importantly, we also, from the onset, have always looked at trying to build a facility that could dual purpose as a shelter.
Right.
And once this project is done, this will actually be the first designated shelter, or at least that's what we're going to try to do with civil defense, homeland security, is to try to get it FEMA certified.
Right.
So it'll be the first emergency shelter outside of the Guam Department of Education system.
Nice.
And
And
so
Mayor Jesse, I remember you.
Let me finish. What we're trying to do here at Ordot-Chalan Pago is we're trying to build a template for the other mayors. Hopefully we can have something like this in the northern region, in the southern region, and show that it can work.
Thank you, Mayor. I remember
Where?
I was over at your office and you showed me the plans for this thing. Looks pretty cool.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Where is this going to be built?
It's going to be in Ordot-Chalan
This
Pago.
is-
Not duh.
We have a baseball field in Ordot-Chalan Pago, and it roughly sits on about 9 acres of land. And at the baseball field, we have an existing community center. It's really a social hall. And then we have a outdoor basketball and tennis court. And so what we're going to do is we're basically taking the outdoor basketball and tennis court and bringing it indoors.
Right.
We'll actually take out the basketball tennis court is more than 30 years old. It's obviously in need of repairs. Over the 12 years I've been the mayor, I've tried to, because this has been a vision. So over the last 12 years that I've been a mayor, I've been trying to judiciously spend what I need to keep it open, but not necessarily spend so much money, knowing that eventually I was going to take it out and try to put something more permanent and bringing the court area indoors. And so we've been trying to manage the resources of this village judiciously, and so that's where we're going to put this multi-purpose center at.
Thank you, Mayor Jesse. Let's move over to Mayor Louise. Mayor Louise, as the mayor of one of the biggest, if not the biggest, business sector on the island, Tamuning-Tumon-Harmon. What did you hear about the reopening of businesses, and what's your village saying about this announcement that we're anticipating today, Mayor?
There are a lot of people happy about the reopening and being able to help these businesses bring in the income. I mean, businesses continue to pay rent. No one ever saw this coming or what to expect of it. People are hurting. There's still a great need of food and jobs, and right now we're also reaching out to social workers, to come out and help those that are feeling the pain and what they're going through, so that they don't lose hope. And so anything we can do to help the economy get back on its feet. It's great hearing that a lot more stores are opening. Businesses are coming out wanting to post things or signs all over the place saying that they're open again. Then there's also a group that I heard of that that want to do protesting and a motorcade, to do the things safely because we understand that there is this virus out there. We don't want we don't want it to continue to spread. We want to do everything that we can, and many businesses, they have their plan. I know that they're doing the best that they can to make sure that everything is sanitized, and they have the people there to make sure people are coming in safely. There's a lot of responsible business people, that and they don't understand why they're closing when they see other businesses open. So there's just so many different emotions in regards to all of this. But yes, we all need to work together, to make sure that businesses are able to open and continue to be safe. We look out for one another. I know that there's reporting. People will be calling me all the time saying, "Oh, I was at this store and they're so great in social distancing and sanitizing and making sure someone's handing out the wipes." Then I get another call from someone saying, "Oh, there's no control. The store people, they can't even handle all the customers coming in." And so sometimes it's people are saying it's safer just to close it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different emotions and people's responses to these different things that we just need to all help one another. If there's someone that needs help, there's someone doing something wrong, we need to help them make things better, to do things right, so that we can all open safely.
Right. So you guys have been talking about this whole, we're going to see businesses open. Do you reopen? Do you know what specific businesses though? Are we talking about hair salons, fitness centers? What are we talking about?
Oh, and that's
Were
a
you in the
guiding.
meetings? Were you in the meetings, Mayor Luis? Or is it just Mayor Savares?
I was not informed of the meeting that was
Okay.
going
We
on.
can
Mayor
bring on Mayor,
Savares?
Mayor Savares.
Yeah, so they're still working with Department of Public Health. After the first wave of PCOR 1, salons were able to open, nail places were able to open, bars opened actually, and game rooms opened. So it's essential things that families need. Of course, they're concerned, the physicians advisory group, their concern is that when people go to bars, they take their mask on, they hug each other, they're happy, right, to drink. So those will be some restrictions, but we know that other service areas will be open. I'm not sure what the final business areas will be allowed to open, but I know that the restrictions will still be funerals, bars, and the number of people at funerals, and then bars. The other service, clothing, the malls will be open to a restricted limit. Of course, all of these facilities had their public health guidelines that had to be followed. When you enter the mall, they take your temperature. When you enter the different, and then you have hand sanitizers available, and then they sanitize after people leave.
So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the possibility that we're going to see the mall, the shopping, the GPO, Micronesia Mall, possibly opening. I guess tomorrow, whenever the governor lifts or does whatever she's going to do.
So
What about
the final would be whatever's advised by Department of Public Health and the Physicians Advisory Group. We will get those actual business lists when the governor does her executive order.
Right.
But that was what was discussed on Monday is she's still getting the guidance from the Physicians Advisory Group. Physicians Advisory Group, we heard Dr. Wen say, open up with restrictions.
Right. Yeah.
Have you guys heard anything about quarantine? About releasing more people? About changes? Because the protocols have been changing a couple of times this week. Have you guys heard anything new?
Other than what's been in the executive, the releases, yesterday there was another release about quarantine. That's where we're, because that quarantine again is through the Department of Public Health. I understand that they've been in court this week with certain quarantine suits and concerns. So we have not discussed that. They didn't. Our Zoom meeting is strictly with the governor at myself, the chief judge, the Judge Carbolito for the courts and the speaker. And so, of course, that's on Mondays. And so, what happens between Monday and today's Thursday, there's a lot of discussion with the Department of Public Health and the Physicians Advisory Group. Things continue to move. And
was any part of the
discussions
discussions, you said that, so since the reopening of businesses was brought up, what about child care facilities? Was that discussed on who's going to watch kids?
Of course, with people, they're working with the Department of Public Health. Physicians Advisory Group and Department of Public Health are the ones advising the governor on the other facilities, child care, the schools, and what types of businesses.
Let me just ask, Mayor, right? So I'm thinking about how, and we've seen it with the just pressure from the businesses, and we knew that there was a lot of meetings that happened this week. I know that reps from the chamber have been really trying to sit down with the gov and get that FaceTime and, plead their case. And it looks like, we're reopening things, but just on the virus angle, are you guys confident that we have a handle on this virus? Because by pushing for the reopenings, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be limited ways they can open, the protocols with the COVID-19. But just from a virus spread standpoint, we haven't really done a lot of testing. Our testing positivity rate is still very high. Hospitalizations, Lillian said that we're kind of stabilized, but we're not out of the jungle yet. So just from a virus standpoint, do you think that our healthcare system and the COVID-19 response, when we talk about the different triggers, public health's ability to conduct mass community testing, public health's ability to have a robust contact tracing system, and then it also deals with the hospitalizations and the testing positivity rate. So do you think we have enough of a handle on this virus that we're just going to lift the gates and open everything up and we'll be okay?
Chris and Sabrina, as far as the testing is concerned, it's not just the Department of Public Health doing testing. There are private clinics that have the testing kits. I had a call the other day from a resident saying, I have symptoms, but I haven't been exposed. So I said, well, who is your private doctor? And they said who their private doctor. I said, call your private physician and inquire about going in for a testing. So testing is not just limited to Department of Public Health. Let me tell you, I see, because the Northern Health Center is where they're doing testing for those that are tied in with contact tracing. They line up at the Department of Public Health Northern Health Center because they're called. And that line, they don't start testing until 9 o'clock. So by 8 o'clock, the line starts going out of the Northern Health Center because they were called the day before or a few days before because they came in contact with someone who was tested positive. So, like I said, Department of Public Health is not the only place where people can get tested. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have a testing on this past Saturday in Yamada.
Right. Yeah.
What happened is because of the rain, that was postponed. And the reason why they have to limit it, it's because they have the test kits to do the testing. But if they take more than 200 more than 200 tests, they'll be there for 4 or 5 hours. And, the nurses at public health told me we can only be in these PPEs for no more than 4 hours. You need to switch off at least every 2 hours.
Yeah.
But do we have that many nurses? Even with the DO and nurses that are helping, they're helping in the hospitals, they're helping at public health, they're helping in the outreaches. And there's only so many DO nurses that can come out.
Right, Mayor. And
Right?
that basically means that we don't have the ability to conduct a community mass testing, which is supposed to be one of the triggers for moving us from PCOR to PCOR. I want to switch it to the other mayors, just and answer the same question, Mayor Jesse, Mayor Louise. Do we have enough of a handle on this virus? Is this going to be the new normal moving forward, the current state of affairs with public health and how they're able to respond with testing and testing positivity and the Guam Memorial Hospital hospitalizations? Mayor Jesse?
Well, Chris, I have my opinion on whether or not we have a handle on it. But one of the things that I try to be cautious about is I have no medical background whatsoever. I know and I believe that based on all of the information that's come out of the governor's office and given her health advisory committee, given the wealth of knowledge that her leadership over at public health has, I believe that they are doing what they believe is necessary in order to keep a handle on what's going on. And obviously it's weighed against what available resources we have on Guam. Should the numbers grow and the number of people who need to be hospitalized grows, and so it's kind of like it's exactly this. I don't try to second guess the expertise of that our healthcare providers or our trained healthcare officials and making these kinds of decisions, just like I wouldn't expect them to question or challenge, not necessarily question, but to challenge the decisions an engineer makes when it comes to building buildings or repairing roads or fixing infrastructure problems. And so I have every confidence that what's been happening and decisions that have been made with a great deal of thought, a great deal of expertise in their areas of healthcare, and that the administration and our healthcare providers are doing what they can do to keep this under control.
Mayor Louise?
Well, like I said, we continue to look out for the guidance that comes out, from public health and governor's office. So even at this time, when they come out with guidance and there's some concerns to it, I really appreciate that they take the time to listen to us and, they respond to like what the needs are in the community, because when only certain businesses were allowed to open, there were difficulties on, trying to get things in order to run that business, or in order for the mayor's office to continue to go out and serve food and, to deliver meals to the Manumco and to the kids, also delivering homework and stuff. Public health and the governor's office continue to listen to our needs about having the auto repair shops need to be open. We were in need of tires or supplies, oil, stuff like that. So there's still that need. And we see that, because this is totally new for all of us. No one expected this. And this hasn't happened before. I mean, we've been through other things such as, like typhoons and, flooding, things like that. But, with this virus, because we can't see it, we don't know who has it. We don't know if it's around us. Yes, it's the new norm. I mean, here we are always with our, now with our alcohol and our masks. We're always, we have to say, do what we can. And, we just ask everybody to please respect each other and, keep your distance. It's embarrassing because, you know, a lot of times we're so used to just running up to each other and hugging. Oh, we miss you, and we amen, we kiss, or you know, stuff like that. And now it's like, how are you? Air hugs, and you know, so you know, we just need to do what we can to stay safe, especially with us. And you know, a lot of people have been calling me, telling me, Louise, make sure you stay safe because you still have to go out there. And you know, every time we come to the office early in the morning until late at night when the sun goes down, there's a lot of people around our compound exercising. You know, a lot of tennis players. You know, so I'm getting calls saying, you know, how come they're out there? But you know, they've allowed it. They've allowed for exercises to go on, and tennis is okay because they're apart. You know, they don't want groups of like basketball players. So even when the kids come out to you know, practice or you know, to play basketball, you know, we have to continue to help monitor them and let them understand. You know, go one at a time. You know, shoot your hoops, and you know, just don't stay close together and watch your sweat. You know, don't make it fly to each other. So it's the constant being, you know, being able to help others understand and know the reason why we're doing this. Places have to be closed, but you know, we're trying to let them know that we want to come back, we want to open up everything again, but we have to really do it safely. The
Right.
numbers
So,
just, you know,
so I guess we're just gonna have to wait until the governor holds her press conference, if she holds a press conference today or not, which we're all hoping, because I think we all need to know what is going on.
We all just love hanging by the seat of our pants waiting for
Right.
these last minute announcements. It's so courteous to clue us in and tell us what to expect.
Yeah, and then as we wait for the governor, do you guys have any update on like the collection of junk goods? Has that been ceased during PCOR 1, or are we going to pick it up when we go into PCOR?
Fun.
Yeah.
it's ongoing right now.
It is,
As a
okay.
matter of fact,
Okay, good.
yesterday and today, we're still removing junk vehicles and then collecting white goods. And you know, I wanted to thank you for this opportunity for allowing us to be here, because I'd also like to share that today, you know, we finally got equipment to come out and do the maintenance that we need to be done on EPAL Road. So EPAL Road from the SDA clinic down to the Hilton intersection will be closed this morning from 9 a.m. till it's all clear. You know, that's a dangerous, narrow street, you know, so we continue to work with the Department of Public Works in making sure that Route 14B is cleared. There's trees that have been there that are, you know, on the cliff side that are dangerous and loose. And, you know, with all this rain and all that, we continue to do what we can to keep the streets and the community safe. You know, so you know, from day one when all this started, the mayors, I know we have all been out there, and we continue to work, and we just, you know, we asked for you know, patience, and you know, like for everybody to, you know, pardon us and you know, excuse the inconvenience, but we are just doing what we can to make sure that things are cleared and safe for all of us.
Mayor Savares, so you guys are still taking phone calls for people to come get their white goods and things like that picked up from the recycling revolving fund?
Yes, we have a few white goods more that we can take now that the vendors have opened, because some of the vendors during PCOR 1, the first 3 weeks were actually closed. We're done with the funding that was allotted to us to remove junk vehicles. So we're done, you know,
You've exhausted all the money?
exhausted all that money that was given to us for junk vehicles. However, white goods and tires, we're doing the final. We have until next week on the 30th to complete all these activities, these tasks. And then, because of course at the end of September is the end of the fiscal year, we need to clear those purchase orders out and get those vendors paid, and then hopefully before December we'll have new purchase orders.
Was this just only for Dededo or every single?
No, for everybody,
Oh,
for all the
wow.
villages.
Maybe you should ask for that $500,000 that went to the 3G. Or
Well,
whatever
the
it's
good
called.
thing is that that the Guam EPA board had already approved for the next fiscal year for the transfer. So we don't have to wait for the board to have a meeting again. And the MOA between Guam EPA and the Mayor's Council is already a carryover for the next fiscal year. So we don't need to wait for all those things to happen. They're already in place. And that's why I said, hopefully by the first quarter, we'll be able to get new purchase orders for the same task.
Mayor, we had a comment here. Dededo Mayor, there's still some kind of religious gathering going on almost nightly at Swamp Road. It's been called in, but nothing has been done.
Okay, I'll check Swamp Road this afternoon.
Okay.
Find out what's going on there. Okay.
I want to thank you guys for coming on. Do we want to do it last?
No, I just wanted to say to Mayor Gogui, condolences to everybody in Ordot-Chalan Pago
Right,
with the passing of Monsignor Kirikwa.
Yeah, and Mayor Gogui, if you could tell us a little bit about how your community, it's a very tight-knit community, how they've reacted to Monsignor's passing.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard. Excuse me. So the passing of Monsignor hit the community hard, and so one of the things that we've been waiting on is to find out from the family what funeral services are going to be planned for Monsignor. And one of the things the family was waiting on was, as you know, when Monsignor went into some of you may know, is when Monsignor went into the hospital because he had contracted the COVID-19. Also admitted to the hospital with him was his brother Tony, his youngest brother Tony. And so because Tony was still in the hospital, yeah, after Monsignor's passing, and he was doing the rosaries from the hospital. Yesterday was the first time he actually was there for the rosary at his home for his brother. And so now that Tony's out of the hospital, hopefully the family will move forward with the plans. And they'll make the announcement to the community on what funeral services are being planned for Monsignor. But know that the family rosary ends tonight, or the public rosary ends tonight, and they'll do and the family will continue the 9 days rosaries, family rosaries, starting tomorrow for them. But at San Juan Bautista Church, on Sunday, until he's buried, we'll continue to do an 8:30 rosary and our parking lot gatherings, and then subsequently followed by our 9 o'clock mass. But
well,
thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Mayor.
thank you, Mayor. It's definitely going to be heartbreaking, as Mayor Savares has already told us that they're planning on carrying over restrictions for funerals. And I know that there's a lot more than 10 people who want to be able to say goodbye to Monsignor. So our condolences, thoughts, and prayers are with your village, Mayor Gogui. Mayor Louise, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Always good to see you.
Hey, looking good. My gosh.
What's going on? Are you on the keto or the Jumba?
Zumba, and I'm riding my bike now.
Oh,
right.
nice. Right on. Yeah, Dave. Mayor Savares, thank you for spilling the beans. We're supposed to get Crystal Paco San Augustine, but she said she didn't have the info ready. But
You might want to turn off your phone for a while.
they're probably going to chew you out. Like, did you go on the link again? What'd I tell you?
No, thank you. We really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Definitely, Mayor. Thank you. We'll see you guys.
Take care. Stay
Esta.
safe.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Gogui, Mayor Louise. Always good to see you. There you go. That's your village mayors right there. and we'll get more mayors on. I love having the mayors on.
Yeah, and you know, they work so hard. Their staff, I mean, they have been there from the beginning of this thing. I mean, even though they may not have been in the loop at the beginning of this thing, they were still, no matter what, were working. People were calling them, and as much as, you know, they didn't know what was going on, but, you know, they do what they do. And so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right.